Pastor Mark Conforti.
All right. Hello, and welcome to something. We couldn't just call this anything. That would mean nothing. We don't have time for everything, so let's talk about something. And by the way, this is not a sermon. If you're looking for a sermon, we have plenty of those on file. If you've noticed, we live in a world surrounded by things. Huge things, little things, scary things, happy things. Things all around us. And I wonder if we notice them, because if we look, we just might find something significant. We might find that there's a deeper meaning in some of the things that are all around us. I want to show you one of my favorite things. It's this bookcase right here. Now, this bookcase is not the kind of bookcase that you buy at the store and then put together later. Those particle board bookcases. Now, for what it's worth, we have plenty of those in our home. But this one is really special. It was handmade by none other than Dr. Max Wilson. I first met Max several years ago. He was a retired physician teaching part-time at the local medical school. And he learned carpentry along the way in life. He grew up in a little rural farming community outside of Lake Okeechobee in Florida. And like many people who grew up on farms, he learned how to do things, how to build things. And his level of mastery was astounding to me. For someone who was an excellent physician, he was also an amazing carpenter. And you can see it in the home that he built with his own two hands, the back deck that led over to the Santa Fe River, and also his amazing wood shop. I love to go into the wood shop with Dr. Wilson and to watch him, and he can tell that I was trying to learn a few things about carpentry. And so he suggested that we build something together. It ended up being more like he built it and I watched. We decided to build a bookcase. Now, I want you to know that the wood here was harvested from his own property. It was planed and it was cut to size, and it was designed to be movable because I'm an itinerant guy and I need to be able to move things every once in a while. So the top and the bottom, it lifts up. These three center pieces are on a piano hinge and they fold up, and then the two side pieces fold in together. Pretty cool. But when it's standing straight like this, nice and tall and strong, it can hold all kinds of things that I need. It can hold all kinds of things that I need. For example, this coffee mug. This is one of my favorite coffee mugs. I used to not always drink coffee, but I changed my mind several years ago. I'll never forget, it was a Thursday night when I was watching my son's soccer practice. Now, at the end of a long week, Thursday night can be kind of tiring for a person, especially someone who doesn't drink coffee. And I was talking to a friend of mine as we're watching our sons play soccer. We're talking about how long the week has been, how tiring it's been. And my friend says, I can't get out of the house in the morning unless I have 2 cups of coffee. And then it hit me. Of course, there's a reason why most of the adult world across language and cultures, there's a reason why people drink coffee. It helps. I remember growing up seeing the coffee mug collection that my mom and dad had, and I always thought that was such an old person kind of thing, having a coffee mug collection. But now we have our collection, and we picked this one up when we were at Yosemite National Park. And I love the way it feels in my hand. I love the colors. It's a little bit bigger than your typical coffee mug, and I like holding on to it. Do you have a favorite coffee mug? Yeah? Yeah. You know what happens sometimes when a coffee mug falls and it breaks? You get yourself a pencil holder. But coffee mugs are really good because sometimes people like to drink their coffee out of a thermos on the go. It keeps the coffee really warm, and there's a lid on top, and as you get in and out of the car, as you go in and out of meetings, you can take your coffee with you, don't have to worry about it spilling. A coffee mug is different though, isn't it? When you drink out of a coffee mug, you're committed. Now, granted, for a little bit of time, not long, but you're committed. You're going to be in the moment right then and there. When the coffee gets poured into the coffee mug, the mug itself gets quite hot pretty quickly. Mount Vesuvius in your hands. So you really need the handle to protect your hand. When you sit down, perhaps with your bestie, or to read the paper, or whatever occasion it might be, when you're sitting down with a coffee mug, you are present in the moment, right then and there. You're committed. I wonder how many times we miss out because it's hard for us to be present in the moment. We're too worried about what's coming up, or maybe we're fretting about what happened before. I wonder what it would look like for you and me if we were more present in the moment. I wonder if we can get a handle on life a little bit better if we were present right here and there. Another thing that I wanted to show you is a very, very simple thing that I find to just be a marvelous invention. And if you're here in person, I think you may have been given a paper clip. Isn't this just a simple little thing that is so incredibly helpful? We get all kinds of things in the mail that will have paper clipped together. And every once in a while, we need to, of course, buy some more paper clips. Not too long ago, we purchased several boxes of paper clips. We now have approximately 50 million paper clips. There must be a paperclip factory out there still. It's such a simple design, and I don't want anybody to hurt themselves, but if you could just gently place your finger in between and kind of feel the pressure, you get a sense of how the paperclip works. This was designed in order to hold paper together without puncturing the paper, like with a staple, or cutting the paper, hurting the paper. You can take a paper clip and glide it on, glide it off very easily. The paper's not hurt, the paper's held together. Why? Because of this elegant design. It uses pressure, just the right amount of pressure. Too much pressure, and you couldn't put any paper in between the two parts. Not enough pressure, and the paper won't be held together. I wonder, how many things are we trying to hold together in life? We're trying to hold together relationships. We're trying to hold together our work, our school. We're trying to hold together our busy schedules, our hopes and dreams about the future. We're trying to hold together news that we're learning every day that might be distressing, alarming. We're trying to hold it all together. Sometimes we can't hold it all together. It's too much. It's too much. A paperclip can only hold so many pieces of paper. 2 sheets of paper, 20, 30. Well, it depends on how thick the paper is. How many sheets of paper? You and I, we can only hold so much. We can only hold so much. And if you try to use a paperclip on too thick a sheet of paper, what happens to the paperclip? It gets bent out of shape. And when you and I try to do too much, try to hold too much, what happens to us? We get bent out of shape very quickly. Something else I wanted to show you, another thing, is this fun thing. Pool noodle. You know, pool noodles have been around since about the mid-1990s. Just when you thought there couldn't be another fun pool toy, inflatable ball, dive rings, some person thought, let's take a tube of foam and let's put it in the pool and see what happens. And this has been a fun pool toy for many people every summer. I gotta admit, there's a little trick I like playing on my kids. When we're in the pool and I've got the pool noodle. I'll put it underwater all the way, and then I'll say, hey, I think this thing's broken. Check the other end. And then they'll hold it right here, and then I'll go. The pool noodle's a fun toy, but it can also help a person too. I learned that when our family went on a trip to the Florida Keys, and we went snorkeling at Alligator Reef in Isla Mirada. We were on a catamaran. We went out to the reef. There were about 40 of us who would go snorkeling. We all put on the dive goggles. We had the breathing apparatus. We had the fins on our feet. And in the instructions that we were given, we were told, anybody who wants to take a flotation device like a pool noodle out into the Atlantic Ocean, go for it. And at first I thought, I'm not taking a pool noodle in the ocean. What kind of swimmer am I? I can do this all by myself. Well, there we were trying to snorkel, and the waves were pretty noticeable. And about 5 minutes into it, I said, hey, where's that pool noodle? Thank you. And then I just held it under like this. And just this one simple pool noodle helped me. It was remarkable. And what it did, it allowed me to relax and to actually enjoy all the things under the surface of the water, which is why we were there in the first place. So this is really designed, though, for the pool, isn't it? We're coming up on summer, pool season, when people like to go and enjoy time by the pool. It's an interesting time for people, namely young people, who are curious about themselves, curious about their friends, trying to look cool at the pool. Using one of these to help you swim probably won't help you look cool. But you know, it's not just kids and youth, it's adults. Adults at the pool are wondering, how does this bathing suit make me look? Do I need to lose any weight? We wonder these things to ourselves, especially at the pool. We're a little bit more vulnerable there, aren't we? We're willing to show ourselves a little bit more than when we're out and about in other places. This pool noodle will not help you look cool at the pool. But here's what it will help you do. It'll help you to relax, which is why we're there in the first place, isn't it? I think we would do well to just relax a little bit more. Ease up. Allow ourselves to just float a little bit more. I've noticed, and maybe you have too, we're living in a sea of self-doubt and worry. People are bobbing up and down, trying to keep their head above water. I think we would do well to get out the floaty. Get out the pool noodle and just allow ourselves to relax a little bit more. I could use that. I think you might be able to as well. Something else you might be able to use at the pool, a good pair of sunglasses. Now, I have a way of always wearing cheap sunglasses, ZZ Top style. These are the only kinds of sunglasses I wear. I don't have any expensive sunglasses. If there is some sort of festival downtown and there's a person at a booth giving away things, I'm looking to see if they're giving away free sunglasses. These are the kind that I wear. If I break them, if I lose them, no big deal. Did you know that the American Optometric Association actually recommends wearing sunglasses? It's good for you. Healthy for you, helps to protect your eyes. These are good for you to wear. It can protect the UV. It can help you see better too, because sometimes when the glare is so bright, when you're driving or on the ski slope, sometimes you may not be able to be oriented, know where you're supposed to be. Sunglasses are pretty helpful. I remember the song, I wear my sunglasses at night. You know, Tom Petty from Gainesville, Florida, where I went to college. Tom Petty used to wear sunglasses on stage all the time, and he was asked about it. And he said, I'm not trying to look cool. It's just those stage lights are so bright. I wonder how many other performers on stage wear these because the stage lights are so bright. I also wonder how many people wear sunglasses because they're actually trying to not just protect themselves, but they're trying to hide. Hide in plain view. You can't see me, we foolishly wonder when we put on the sunglasses. I wonder what it would take for us to maybe not wear the sunglasses for the sake of hiding, but actually for the sake of protection. There's a difference. We can position ourselves so that we can be strong and healthy and well, but that's different than being afraid. I think that the sunglasses are something that we put on and take off, don't think anything about. There is a great movie from the early 80s that had a young person wearing sunglasses at night. And an adult asked, so why are you wearing those sunglasses? And he said, because when you're cool, the sun's out 24 hours a day. I think you're pretty cool. But you don't need these to hide. What would it look like to just take these and set them aside and trust that who you are is good enough? That who you are is loved and beautiful and wonderful. No need to hide because you have a wonderful story to tell. This is a picture frame inside a picture from when my wife and I went on a hike at Cub Lake near Estes Park, Colorado. We had a fantastic trip to the Rocky Mountain National Park. We went fly fishing, horseback riding, hiking. It was marvelous. We had a great trip. Of course, we have all these great pictures, and we don't want the pictures to just be on a flash drive where no one can see them. If you just print a photo and have them on a stack, that's not really doing justice. You want the picture on display. So you want to frame the picture, right? Well, if you go to the store to look for a picture frame, you need to make a choice. Are you going to get a frame off the shelf or a custom frame? The pre-made frames off the shelf are much less expensive. You can even find one for a good deal sometimes. The custom frames, though, you get to choose all kinds of things, including the matting on the inside. Our family has all kinds of pictures in frames. I'm sure you do too. Pictures from vacations, graduations, weddings, little moments along the way. We received in the mail a thank you note from somebody, and the thank you note on the front was a beautiful watercolor of the cross at Lake Junaluska in North Carolina mountains. Beautiful watercolor. And we were so happy not just to receive this thank you note, but we were just happy to have the watercolor on the note card. We weren't just going to throw it away. We said, hey, how about we hold on to this? So we got some scissors and we started trimming so that it would fit inside of another little frame that we just happened to have around the house. I started trimming this note card, and the picture was still a little bit too big for the frame. So I had to trim a little bit more and a little bit more until it finally fit. And as delighted as I was to have this beautiful watercolor in a frame, that was a thrifty thing to do, there was a part of me that was sad that I had to cut so much out of the picture. I wonder, when we tell stories about our own lives, I wonder what we leave. I wonder what we cut out. I wonder what we choose to share. The stories of our lives are joys that we get to tell. And how we frame the story says a lot about who we are, how we picture ourselves, and how we want to engage with the world. The picture is one thing, but having it framed, that helps us to see the picture. How do you frame up your stories? What do you leave out? What do you include? How do you know what to tell about who you are? Like I said, I had to use a pair of scissors to cut that one picture in order to have it fit into the frame. Do you ever wonder who was the first person to come up with a pair of scissors? It's called a pair of scissors, even though you're holding only one. I guess it was somebody who had a knife in one hand and another knife in the other hand, and they're trying to cut something, and it wasn't working, and someone said, I know, let's attach the two knives together and have them pivot, and we'll call them scissors. My mom taught preschool for many years at our home church, Hollywood Hills United Methodist. And one of the things she loved to do was to teach children how to cut with scissors. She said it was one of those early skills that children need to learn how to do. And so, of course, there were the safety scissors, plastic, rounded off at the end. No way that you could really hurt anybody or cut anything. But that's what the children would learn to use. And so we would have pages out of magazines, and the children would learn how to cut. It's one of the first ways that children learn something really important: responsibility. Think about it. We're trusting the child. Here, hold these scissors. That's one of the first ways children get to learn responsibility. Responsibility is a big word. To be responsible means that you are able to respond well. Some people are given responsibility. Somebody might want to take responsibility. Think about another time that someone near you is holding a pair of scissors. And I don't mean emotionally near you. I'm talking about physically near you. A barber, a hairstylist. There you are, sitting, and there the hairstylist or barber is standing. There's that cape on you to not get hair in your clothing. And there you are, needing to be perfectly still, while the person is going like this. You are trusting that person with the responsibility of holding those scissors while you sit still. That's a big deal, isn't it? I wonder what it means to be a person of responsibility. Can we be trusted with the scissors? One of my favorite scenes from TV is from the old TV show Cheers. All the friends who gathered at the bar talking about their day. One of the characters, Frasier, who was a responsible person. He was a therapist. People trusted him with their stories. And he was trying to prove to everybody that he could be a bad boy. And what did he do? He took a pair of scissors and started running. He says, I am running with scissors. I wonder what it means for you and me to be responsible people, able to respond in the right way. If we can get a handle on life, maybe we can. Something else I wanted to show you. I've been going through several books lately. This one book was recommended by a really good friend. This book is for a reading group I'm a part of. One of the people in the reading group, his wife calls it your little book club. Said, no, it is a reading group. Got this book for Christmas, still working on it. And I have this book that I read with several people here at the church. Just wrapped it up. I've got 2 other books in the queue that I'm looking forward to reading. And just over the weekend, I went to the Rowan Public Library's Bookapalooza and got 2 big boxes of books. ready to go. I haven't always been a reader. There was a time that I remember my mother dragging me to the library, trying to get me to read. I didn't want to. Finally, a friend of mine in high school, he gave me a gift. It was a tiny book, literally tiny. It was 2 inches by 3 inches, about 20 pages, and it was a very abbreviated version of a bestseller. I read that book, and actually it helped me. And it helped me to realize I got to find the right genre of books that interest me. So I've been reading these books all at the same time. And I've got other books I'm wanting to read. And I wonder about the stories in our life. We may want to just do one thing at a time, but we actually need to do several things all at the same time. We may not have the luxury of just reading one book at a time. Our life does not have the luxury of just being one story at a time. We are all at the same time a family member, a person in the community, an employee, a student. Perhaps one of your stories is caring for children or caring for your grandchildren. Maybe one of your stories is caring for an ailing parent. Maybe one of your stories is helping in some sort of extra wonderful way that takes time out of your schedule. You're living a life that is full of stories. So one day I was in the church office and I was trying to organize my desk a little bit better. And I had this stack of books that was getting taller and taller. It was getting a little bit on the precarious side. I thought it would topple over. And I said to myself, I wish I had a really good place where I could store all of these books and keep them organized. And then I looked across my office and saw this bookcase. There it is. You know the problem, though? I was keeping way too many other things on this bookcase. Things that, quite frankly, didn't belong. And so I had to clear off the things that didn't belong. Some things got put away, other things got thrown away, so that I can make room for the stories. I wonder, what are the things in your life that might need to be put away? What are the things that need to be thrown away? So that you can make room for what your life is really all about. I've got good news for you. Your life is custom carpentry. Your life is made by the same masterful hands who created the heavens and the earth. Your life can hold all the stories. And they're the stories that you have the privilege of telling, to tell about the love that you have in your life and the love that you have to share. Because you are not just something. You are someone. Thank you.